Hey guys, today we're going to go through and look at 5, maybe a few more knives fast. And these are going to be knives that are brought to us, brought to my collection by Bestech, right? So I thought we'd start off by looking at a couple of OEM Bestechs one of them is a Todd Knife and Tool collaboration. The other one I think is a Beyond EDC initial collaboration that then turned into a Bestech OEM project. Bestech makes a lot of really good knives. They make some of Vero's knives and several others we'll look at here, because what I really wanted to focus on was their OEM capabilities, but I didn't want to leave short some of the Bestechs that I think are some of the best in their line, like this Shodan, which is a Todd Knife and Tool collaboration, both a reverse flicker and a middle finger flipper with a very generous finger choil. Great medium-sized knife. And then you've got the Bestech Syn, which is a titanium frame lock. Flipper hole only, but dialed very well. Before we get started, guys, I wanted to thank any of you who found your way in to watch my knife, my EDC content. I appreciate you more than you know. I would ask, if you're so inclined and you haven't had a chance yet, if you would hit that bell notification and that subscribe button. Not necessarily in that order, but in that order's fine. It would really help me out, and it'll also update you when I release new content. But let's get into what I think are my favorite top 5, probably going to be 6, Bestech OEM'd knives that surprised me early on in the game. So when I got my first QSP, it was my first EMP EDC Nimble, it was a QSP OEM knife. And the second knife I picked up from them was this EMP EDC Thick Boy. And this is the Thick Boy version 1. And it's OEM by Bestech. I love the style of the knife. I love the feel of the knife. I love the uniqueness of the knife. And Bestech basically killed it. Bestech, I think, as far as an OEM company, as we get into these knives, you'll see, are as good as really anybody. They're not cheap. You can get cheaper knives OEM'd at other companies, but man, they are nice. They are solid. They lock up solid. They have great detents. They have very nice materials. This one has micarta scales. These scales could be swapped out. Has an M390 blade, titanium clip, titanium bolsters, titanium bolster lock. Snaps to life there. Has a nice finger choil, sharpening choil. Just a great little EMP EDC Bestech OEM cleaver. I really like it. One of my favorites. Moving on, we come to a knife by T.W. Price, and this is the Dawn V1. Another knife that was designed here in the States and OEM'd by Bestech. And it's another knife I think Bestech killed. It is a thinner, smaller, what I consider to be a perfectly sized EDC knife. The V1 is a frame lock, which I really like. It does have the flicking fuller if you want to do a middle finger flick on this knife. It also has a very well done front flipper if you want to front flip the knife. Very thin package. Nice standoffs. 2 pieces of milled titanium with a very nice S35VN blade, I think, or is that M390? I'm going to call it S35VN because I don't know. Has a fantastic sharpening choil, which also works as a finger choil for me. Super thin, super slicey. It literally just separates that paper. And a lot of these knives that are showing up in this collection of 5 knives fast that all happen to be OEM by Bestech are very, very slicey. But this is the T.W. Price Dawn V1 OEM by Bestech. Great knife. I look forward to trying out some more of their knives because this one has been such a joy. It really is. It's that good. Carries great. Very thin, very ergonomical, very centered. That's the TW Price Dawn OEM by Bestech. Moves us along to a unique knife that I didn't necessarily think I'd get. This is the Bestech OEM'd Mr. Zero. Probably the most minimalistic knife on the market. So you've got this fully contained M390 super thin blade, this very neutral handle with the wire clip, and you've got this little corner flipper tab which throws this little drop point M390 blade out, totally locked up. Got a button lock, pulls it back in, opens it up. It is a paper destroyer, a box destroyer, an office letter opener destroyer, an EDC wizard of a knife because it's so light, takes up such little room in your pocket. You can get it perfectly balanced out to where that close is just right on track. I'm here a little bit horizontal. Sorry about that, here comes the cat. But the Zeros are currently out of stock, but I think there's going to be another run of these. There's also a knife by Mr. Designs called the Cypher. I think I've got it over here. This is another knife that's made OEM by Bestech, designed by Mr. Designs. This is the Cypher. They also have the Cypher D and a drop point. This knife is every bit as thin and as large as a TRM Atom. Again, this is the Tonto, which is very, very slicey on both edges. It also comes in a much more neutral looking drop point. But Mr. Designs, both of these knives are OEM by Bestech. Both of them are awesome. This guy's still available. But let's move on and let's look at, I wasn't going to bring out the Grant Gripper because it's a little bit older, but I did want to bring out the Grant Tripper. So this is a small Bestech OEM'd Tonto built on the gripper's kind of platform or stylistic details. Multiple opening methods. So you've got the front flipper, you got the traditional flipper, and you've got the little coffin hole for the finger flip. So regardless of how you want to actuate it, I'm not good at thumb flicking. Let's see if I can thumb flick it out. No, yeah, I can thumb flick it out, but it's not comfortable. So I would say it's a middle finger flicker. It is a traditional flipper, more of a light switcher than a push button, and it's a front flipper. Has a great choil, great compound grind, very slicey. I also have a custom one of these that Jason took the Tonto out and just did a full hollow grind on it for me. Fantastic slicey little package. There goes kitty cat. S35VN, OEM by Bestech. I think if you reach out to Jason and he has these still in stock, which I think he might have a handful or two in black and gray, reach out to him, ask what the Javon special is. You might be very surprised at what you can grab one of these for. Again, designed by Jason, OEM by Bestech. It's the Grant Tripper, and it is a fantastic little knife. Very pokey, very stabby, very slicey. And then we move on, and we come to probably my second favorite of the Bestech OEM knives that I've recently come into contact with. And this is my EMP EDC Relative. Just a beautiful knife, beautiful milling on the handle. I love the grinding on the blade. I love the compound tip. I love the jimping. I love the action. The fit and finish and the snap feel different than any of my other manufactured EMP EDCs. And I was more reluctant to buy this knife than any other because it didn't have the regular flipper tab. But now I can really appreciate why. It's just a great dialed in slicing, flipping, chopping machine. The hollow grind is absolutely sick. And that front has got plenty of bite for what you're going to use it for, which is going to be piercing things. So, gotta love the EMP EDC Relative. It is an absolute banger. Bestech knocked it out of the park on this. There are a couple of other EMP EDC designs that could have easily been in this list, but they'll make it to another list because they are very, very worth their weight in gold as well. And this will bring me to my final Bestech knife of this 5 and 5, which might have really been 6 or 7. And it is, yes, the DVO Knives Buzz. The DVO Knives Buzz, guys, is one of my favorite EDC knives because the ergos are so good on it. It fits my hand perfectly. I love the hollow ground blade. I love the fact that it is OEM by Bestech, because I thought the reason they didn't sell these in as mass as they did the MASH V2 and 2.5 is because the 2.5 and the 2 were just such a great value. But when you get this knife in your hand in comparison, you can absolutely see the additional refinements, the additional meatiness of the lock bar, the additional refinements to the titanium handles and the thickness. And then you can see the difference in that grind and that blade steel. It's an absolutely wonderful knife. Top flipper, which I absolutely hate, just because I hate all top flippers. But it's got a great dial detent that you can thumb flick, which I hate. You can slow roll, or you can middle finger flick. And it is a slicey beast. One of my absolute favorites. Definitely my favorite Divo knife. But as we get into these and look at the ones that are my favorites, and these are my Bestech OEM'd by other people who designed them. Someone else's brainchild, right? There's Joe Isabella to right here. And then we can go Mr. right here. And then we can throw in our Bestech Shodan. Tide knife and tool. Bet you I can squeeze in my little cleaver. And if I move that, I will squeeze in my Bestech Syn. But guys, that's a whole lot of Bestech love. I hope y'all found that informative. Most of these are still going to be available. I will try to leave links where they are available. Might be harder, might be easier to Google, but I will definitely leave you some links. This one's not in stock, but I can leave you a link to this one, the Cypher, or the Cypher D. But guys, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for looking out for each other. Please look out for the guy or gal to your left, guy or gal to your right, one another. Please go forward with love in your heart. Always choose debate, not hate. I love each and every one of you. Be up. Thanks, Joe Isabella. And guys, I love each and every one of you. Till we meet again, peace.